How's it going? Welcome to the shop. Hope you're having a great day. Alright, time for part 3 where we get on these bevels. Are you ready? Here we go. Alright, welcome back. So, we did one tempering cycle, and now we're going to check to see if they're straight. If they need straightening, we'll go ahead and put them in for the second cycle with a little bit of adjustment to them. I'll show you that if we have to get to it. Amazon links are down below for most of the tools I use in the shop. I'll put a link up here to my website where you can get shirts like this, and a few knives are available. Alright, let's get on and we'll check to see if these are straight. So here's another reason you need your surface plate. When you come out of tempering, you have to make sure everything is flat. You want to tap it around, make sure nothing's wiggling or nothing like that. See, we're all flat here. You want to check them to make sure they're, like scale. That's another reason you want to take the scale off and all that, because scale will give you a false flat positive. Now, these are all pretty straight. So these can go in. This has a little play in it, but we can take that out when we put it on the magnet and flatten it. I do it with a surface grinder, but I'm going to show you how I do it before I had the surface grinder and all that. So what I want to show you now, let's say one of these was wobbling real bad. You put it like this and it's flat, and you put it on this side and it's wobbling, blah, 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 blah. That means that you'd have to flip it over, put it on your piece of steel, put washers under each side. I learned this from Steve Miller Knives, by the way. And then take your clamp and clamp it right there, and clamp it just a little bit past straight. You don't want to clamp it way down so it's, bent, but just a little bit past straight. And then you put it in for the second temper, and that will straighten out your knife. And then if you go too far, you just keep flipping back and just tweak it a little bit more. But that's why you do one temper cycle first, to soften the steel enough. So, because if you were to take this out when it's like 65 or 63 HRC and do that, you'd take a chance of, cracking the blade or whatever, because it wasn't soft. Softer, I should say. Alright, so I was going to leave this next part out, but I figured I better keep it in. I jumped the gun, and I went and HRC tested the knives before I surface ground them, and here's what I came out with. Alright, this is our 01. It looks like we're at 59. Yeah, man. A little bit above, like right between 59 and 60. Up next is the 52-100. There we go. Right below the 59 for the 52-100. So it looks like we're right out of 57 for the 80 CRV. Alright. Let's get on to these bevels. And then I went after surface grinding, and this is what I came out with. Now that I surface ground everything, it looks like we're right out of 60 for the 80 CRV. And the 01 still at 61, just like before. Maybe actually a little bit over 61. And it looks like 52-100 is at a 61. Yeah, man. A lot better results. So make sure your knives are cleaned off before you test them with the files and all that, or you'll get false readings. And check it out, the belts arrived. New belt day, always a fun day. Alright, let me show you about marking these lines after dike them. Just like in the other videos, which I'll put up here, I'm gonna make a whole playlist. So all these videos, beginner, you can watch and go back and check. So here's where our line was, because we left it thick. Now, if you want to start with a 36 grit or a 60 grit or whatever, I would suggest not making your final line. Well, like I say, test it on the back to see where you want to go. Now see, that's where you want your final grind to be. So we want it a little bit thicker than that. At least I do. Experiment with it. You don't have to follow how I do it. But this is what I found works best for me. Boom. So see, now we got some our lines are thinner, but they're not too thin that if we mess up, we're going to have a problem. And then when we go up to 80, we'll bring them in a little bit more until we get to like 120, and then it'll be our final place. this gives us room to mess up and adjust and all that. You know, like I say, experiment with it. This is how I do it. That way I know I'm safe. Now this line, this is the one that was a little warped, so I had to surface grind it more. The line is right there, so we can't take any more off this side. But this side right here has a whole bunch on it, so we're going to have to take more off this side. And that's what I was talking about when heat treating. Because when you surface grind it or flatten it out to get it flat, you might take more off one side than the other. We had to take more off this side. So now the center line is moved up. So we can't take much off of this side, but we're going to take a lot off this side. When we surface ground this one, we took the same amount off both sides because it was straight. This one needed a little bit of fixing. So that's why you leave your edges thick. Like I say, you don't have to. You could do it like every other person and make them thin and do your finished bevel before heat treat, but if you mess up, you're going to have to make this thinner. And you have to keep taking it off to thicken the blade out. So this I found, believe me, I fought bevels for a long time, and this is what works best for me. But experiment with it, you know, maybe you'll find a better way. All right, it's time to get to where you guys want. It's time to do the plunge lines and ricassos and finish this blade's bevel up. To the grinder. All right, all right, all right. The moment you have all been waiting for. So, I know you want to get to these plunge lines, but patience, Danielson, patience. First, we're going to get used to grinding and getting our bearings down, and then we'll move on to the plunge lines. Like I said, you're going to want to take your marker. I got to redo my lines here. I can't really see them. And you're going to want to show how you're coming up. Both sides. You know, that's another reason these notches are great. You can just have something to guide you with. So, coming up here, straight up. If you want to get out a ruler or something to make it perfectly square, you can do that too. I'm going to go remark these lines because I can't see them. All right, all right, all right. When you want to bring it straight up and over, you want you want the belt to be right on the edge. When you hang it over a little bit, it'll make a little bit, you know, if you want it straight and straight, you have it right square on the platen. If you want a little bit of a curve in there, you hang it over just a little bit. The more you hang it over, the more of a curve it'll put in there. But we're just going to start right here on the bevels. We're going to come down to our first line and put it in. And you know, if you want to go up to your finish line, you can do that. But I got a 36 grit on here, so I'm going to keep it just a little bit below and set my bevels in. That way it gives us room. You know, as you're grinding, you want room to make mistakes and room to fix them. Ecom Nas once said, knife making is just making mistakes and learning how to fix them. And it's so true. So let's get on it. Let's get used to how the belt feels and all that. Kind of get our groove in, and then we'll come back and start working on this. Here we go. All right, now whenever you start feeling comfortable, like you got your bearings, we're just gonna slowly come in. We're not gonna put it in there and hit it real hard. We're just gonna slowly tap it. Kind of just slowly tap it in. Slowly, slowly, slowly. Check it. Just a little bit, then check it. A little bit, then check it. Until it comes right up to here, then we're even. And then we're gonna go to the second bevel and do that. Remember, keep your blade cool. If you want to wear gloves in the preheat treat, that's fine. But I highly suggest, after heat treat, barehanded. That way, if it's too hot to touch, it's too hot for the heat treat. Now, when you get like that, you're going to want to move on or something, but you don't. See the facets right here? There's a facet here. There's a facet right here. There's a facet up here. This all has to look even. Same with here. There's a facet right here. There's a facet right here. This all has to be one even shape. And then you move up. I go from 36 to 80 to 120. But don't move up, because I'll tell you what, 36 you won't see a lot of it, but once you get to 80 and 120, it'll all pop back out. And usually you don't have to go back down, but you'll have to work twice as hard. So I don't know how much of this I'm going to speed up or what, but I was trying to show how it was that one spot right here was that low facet, and I brought it down to almost nothing. That little bit right there, we can take that out with the 80 and 120. So see, we're all perfectly straight, no facets to see. We're straight up, we're straight over. It's been a while. I was getting scared that I was going to mess it up for a while there, because I haven't done one like that for a long time. I always do those big, huge swooping plunges. But there. Now see, we're just a little bit below our line. So that gives us the 80 and 120 to compensate and fix. And if you go over the line, that's fine, because when you flat grind it, okay, you know, so this is like a 60 or whatever. You can either, as you go up in the belts, do the flats, or you can wait till you're finished and then do the flats. But when you do the flats, it's going to bring this down a little bit. Try not to do that, because I got caught when I first started out. I'd get caught in that trap where I'd go up too far and I'd break out the magnet and I'd bring it down and bring it down. You can do that, but try to stay away from it. Try to make it as good as you can the first time. Let me get this other side done. I'm going to do it just like I did this. Then I'll show you the 120. I'm going to skip the 80, which I'm going to do here, but I'll come back and show you the 120. All right, that's another thing. You're going to have to figure out your strong and your weak hand. I mean, I'm left-handed, And this arm's messed up, so of course my left waist is stronger. But I find it's easier for me to hold it and pull it like that. This I have to kind of do and pull that. Some people like to do their strong hand first and then the weak. To me, it makes sense to do your weak hand first and then compensate it with the strong. That way you can match, you know, your good hand is always better to match. Where your weak hand can set in how you want it, then your strong hand finishes it and matches it. But that's all stuff you have to figure out through practice. That's something I can't teach you. I wish I could, but that just comes with practice. There's our 36. I still see a little facet there, but we'll get it with the 80 and the 120. That's it for now. I'm gonna come back. I'm gonna do these three, or these other two. We'll come back when I'm up to 120. Should be only about a second for you guys. All right, so I forgot to show you this when I did the 80. You can see I actually went up a little bit there, but I'm still under my line. I'll just have to fix it here and there, but we'll do that in the grinder. For bigger knives, you know, you might want to keep it this thick, but you also might want to make it thinner. As you can see, for knives like this, I made it a lot thinner. 120, we'll see how you want it. I might make this one a little bit thinner. I might just make two lines that look like one, just to give me a guide. So there, we got our center line right there. That might even be a little bit too thin for this, so we'll just have to. You can also, once you get better at it, you can guide and kind of go off that center line and keep it even. So we'll see where we're at. I went a little higher right there, so I'm going to have to bring up here and bring up here. You don't want to really touch here, so you're going to put pressure here and pressure here to straighten everything out. Then we'll bring it all up to that line. And then from there, it's just 400, 600, you know, however high you want to go. So here's all the spots we gotta focus on. That's why you put the Dicom on. Right here, I gotta focus on, bring this up. You see that's right by, we don't want to touch there, so. But all this is a low spot, so we wanna, fix it all and get it all worked out. Now, so I don't hit that, I'm lifting the knife off just a little bit and pulling just over to there. That way we'll hit right to there. So you can see now right down here. So I'm not pressing down here, I'm pressing up here to get this all out. And we're slowly bringing it down to our line. This is where we're at. So we're up to a 120. If I would have put this on there and it sticks, then I'm sliding it off and I'm scratching my deal. We went a little high on this one, but that's, like I said before, this is my bad arm. So now we'll bring it down a little bit and then we'll match this side to this. I should tell you I did that on purpose, but I didn't. I just wanted to show you what you do when it's wrong. Alright, side one. Now, this is what we got to do. Like I said, that was my weak side, so I messed up a little bit and I fixed it. But we got to make sure how high we are here. So there's our, see, we can still come up a little bit there. I might have to Dicom this up. Or we can keep it like that. And so we want that here. So that's going to stay straight. But out here, we want it up to about here. Let me go re-Dicom this, or I'll be messing up all kinds of lines. Now, of course, you can't, the thing is, when you start doing like what I just did, you start chasing yourself and up and up. Then before you know it, you have a full flat grind. Which we all do, And then the next thing after you get the full flat, you start getting your bevels good, and they look real good small. So you don't want to make them any bigger, so all your bevels start getting real small. I've seen so many people do it, and I'm guilty as all of them. See, Dykem takes out the old lines, so. Here's where we want to go to here. Back here, we want to keep it kind of short. So. That's not too much, so we'll just have to kind of blend that in to make it all look good. So as you see, I'm not even touching my ricasso right now. I'm getting everything else fixed, just like I did before. Then I'll back up and touch right here for the last. And now here's where you want to go here and go here to see. These are even. So this line was off. I don't want to go by that line. You want to stop and you want to check. Right there and right there, that's it. So now we want to just even this out, keep it all straight. But here's a trick I'll show you, just real quick. It's a little unorthodox. Here's a 400 grit belt. We're skipping a lot, but this will tell you where you're missing too, if you have facets and stuff. Right here's a little bit missed, right here's a little bit missed. See, look at all these spots that were missed. So now we got to go back down to the 110 and get these spots out. You see, I can see right here is a big spot where it's missed. But that kind of tells you what you got to work on. Then you go back down the grits. You got to go back down to the 120 and get all these out. I can feel right here. That's how we do it. See, there's so many different kinds of grinds. Like for this one, I was holding it like that to grind. You know, like that and just coming straight across. And that's put this in. Well, this is a little bit of a different story, but you know, that was the straight across. And then you can use these grind lines to follow how you're doing. This one I started here and then pulled it out like that. So there's all kinds of ways to grind, but when you don't practice one type, you get out. Look, even there I hit up a little bit. That will come out, but I have to go back and match this side, and then I'm going to start chasing bevels again. So now we have to bring it up to at least, you know, another 1/8 of an inch. Because next after this, I'll go back down to 120, and then I'll probably come up to a Trizac, like a Trizac 830, or a Trizac 845, then 830 and all that. I'll just show you where I bring the level, I bring it up. You know, I'm going to have to bring it up to here now. And then bring it up. I mean, that's what you have to do, is just have to keep chasing it back and forth. I mean, you can grind it down, but the thing with the magnet is the more you pressure you put into it, the more likely you're going to wonk it off and take too much off this side or take too much off this side. So using the magnet is good to get it down to a grit. But when you're sitting there trying to take stuff off, that you have a chance of making it worse. Alright. So I hope you enjoyed that. Whew, man, it took me 8 hours just to edit this video because I got a new camera that's all 4K. So all the stuff over by the grinder was all 4K. But it's worth it. Now I hope you guys have a better understanding of plunge lines, ricassos, and how to do bevels. I'm not going to do like handles and all that stuff because I got plenty of videos on how to do handles. This was just a beginner's guide on doing bevels and shaping and getting it all started. So just search my name for handles and a whole bunch of stuff will pop up. From removable handles to glued on handles to hidden tangs, all that stuff. I hope you like this. Thanks for watching. If you made it this far, you're a trooper. Alright, Amazon links are down below and up here, along with my website for shirts and knives and all that stuff. So, hope y'all are having a great day. Thanks for watching, and as always, take it easy. So there's all kinds of ways to grind, but that can be taken out with the surface, that can be taken out when we, now how thin you want it is up to you. Sometimes on bigger blades, you're gonna want a thicker one.